Welcome to the second episode of Identity International's webinar series, Kashmiri Beyond Conflict. This series will be running throughout the month of October, every Thursday and Saturday at 5 p.m. British Summer Time, where we will delve into the complexities of Kashmiri identity with our esteemed guests. To receive notifications and updates regarding the series, please follow our social media platforms and/or register on our Eventbrite page by searching Kashmiri Beyond Conflict. Today we'll be in conversation with Haziq Qadri. Haziq is a multimedia journalist based in New Delhi with over 5 years' experience in the field. He's worked for BBC India, both online and radio, as a stringer from Kashmir, where he's covered sort of politics, conflict, arts, and culture. He also freelances with numerous renowned news outlets such as Jazeera, TRT World, The Diplomat, etc. So Haziq, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Perfect. So the first question I would like to pose to you is kind of a deliberately open question, I guess. But to you personally, what does it mean to be Kashmiri?
So see, for example, if you ask me how it feels to be a Kashmiri, so when you talk about the major choices of my, in my life, major priorities, so they are directly or indirectly, affected by my identity as a Kashmiri. Say, for example, when I opt for journalism for a reason, because I realized that things around me, they are not going perfectly well, so there is a problem. And there are a lot of stories that I'm supposed to tell. So that was the reason I opted for journalism, because I realized that this is not a normal situation here. I have spent 5 years in India. I have worked in India for more than 5 years now, and I could see my identity, how it is different from other people in India. When I have to take, say for example, for if I am to take any personal or a professional decision, it's I have to take that decision, not as an individual, but as a Kashmiri. If say for example, if this is a job, is it safe for me as a Kashmiri, not as an individual? So you have to think all about all this stuff. So for example, if you will I have traveled across India, and I have met a lot of people. I felt that there's a gap. I felt different as a Kashmiri. I never felt safe there. I mean, I never felt personally, I never felt safe. I know there is a difference between them and us. Say, for example, if you take a normal Indian, you will see they'll just study, then they look for a job, and then they'll have a family. But for us, I mean, for me as a Kashmiri, we have different priorities. We don't just go to a school, then we'll find a job, we'll get married, and we have our families. That's not with us as a Kashmiris. So for example, if I'm doing a job, I just have to opt this job, but I have to think, is it safe for me? I mean, is it? I won't think about how much am I earning? Am I happy with the job? No. Is it like? Is
Yeah.
it safe? Because, say, for example, in Kashmir, you can see as a journalist, how hard it is to work.
Yeah,
So
it's quite interesting that you're talking about sort of, is it safe for me, as your sort of key question. So in what regards do you mean with that sort of safety?
I'll tell you something. So for example, I am a journalist. I was working in Delhi. I have been reporting there. I have visited. I have been to all the states. When the government, there was this abrogation of Article 370 last year.
Yeah.
I traveled to Kashmir. So when I landed in the Kashmir, I went directly to the field, so that I could report, because there were no stories coming from Kashmir. There were like few stories, because there was no internet, there was nothing. I didn't know anything about my family, if they are alive.
Yeah.
You know, we were in completely shock. What's happening in Kashmir? Nobody knew. So I traveled here without caring about my life, because we heard like a lot of stories. Everything is shut. There is no money. There's nothing. So we traveled to Kashmir, and the day I landed in Kashmir. So I saw my family, and then I decided that I'll report, I'll do some stories. But as I started filming in Srinagar, I was detained for no reason. So I was
Wow.
detained in Srinagar, and they told me that they have banned filming in Srinagar. I was not, filming anything. I was just filming, empty streets. So there was this top cop of this Jammu and Kashmir police. They just came and they just detained me. I was in the police station for more than 11 hours, and they confiscated my phone. My phone was with the police for more than 7 days. I had to literally beg them to give my phone back because it had a lot of contacts and other stuff. My email was on it because my laptop was somewhere else. I was in Kashmir. I had only my phone with me. So they took my
Yeah.
phone, and they asked me not to report. And it's not normal for. So if you'll see journalism in India, there is a difference. you know I don't say there is complete freedom in India on press, but in Kashmir it's different. It's totally different. So say for example, when I was talking about me as a Kashmiri. So when I take a decision about my professional choice, so I have to think about a lot of things. There are like a lot of things. Say for example, as a normal Indian, he would just go and join. He'll do any job. Like he'll go into bureaucracy, he'll do anything. But for us, I have to think, if I mean, am I making a compromise by taking this job? I won't. Because I have to think that I don't have to take a job where
Yeah.
I betray my own people. Say for example, if I go into bureaucracy, I can't do justice with my own people. So your
Yeah.
everything depends on, not on an individual, but as a Kashmiri, it's a different thing here. So that's what I was trying to explain, how it is different, to be, how it feels to be a Kashmiri. It's not, nothing is normal, but we have got so used to it that it has become normal.
Wow. Yeah, no, thank you for that. I think that's really important as well, as sort of a Kashmiri who's also been living in India as well, and how that feels too. Do you also feel that sort of the borders make a difference as to how you relate to other Kashmiris as well?
Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear you, but
Sorry, yeah, sorry. So I was saying, do you feel that the borders, so between Kashmir and India, Kashmir, Azad Kashmir, and also Pakistan, do you feel like the placement of these borders make a difference to how you relate to other Kashmiris within those places as well?
see, I have never been to Azad Kashmir, and I don't I wish to visit someday, but I have not never been to Azad Kashmir, but I have friends there, and I can relate, with them. I can relate more with them compared to people in India. So see, they are Kashmiris, we are Kashmiris.
Wow.
So I'll not talk about India, Pakistan. I mean, I have nothing to do with it. So my simple thing is that, yeah, obviously I can relate with the Kashmiris on the other side. So see, I'm a Kashmiri, and the Kashmiris on the other side, they are also Kashmiris. So it's just like we're just trapped in, somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, thank you for that. And so, sort of building up on that as well, so what aspects of Kashmiri culture do you feel like you identify with most, and that sort of kept that kind of similarity between sort of Kashmiris on your side and also on Azad Kashmir side, and even in the diaspora as well, I guess.
See, about Kashmir, I can just say that our culture is different. There's one culture that we mostly talk about. The stuff we wear, our language, what we eat. That's our culture. We were in Kashmir. We were Farhan. In Kashmir we have a different language. In Kashmir, we have different food, but that is our culture.
Yeah.
But there is also a political culture. We don't talk about the political culture. It happened mostly after, I mean, since I was born in 90s, so I can talk more about 90s. So it according to me, it flourished more after 90s. It's like a resistance culture. In my life I have mostly seen what crackdowns, protests. For me, language
Kind of
is,
growing up with
yeah,
that.
for me language is important. For me food is important. But when I was a kid, I have mostly seen protests everywhere in Kashmir. I have seen crackdowns as a kid. And as a kid, I participated in a lot of protests when I was a kid. So, and I have witnessed a lot of things. Army would come to our house and they would just check everything. They'll just search my house for no reason, because they'll just think that they assume a lot of things, that there might be something. It's a crackdown. So army would just come to my house, not just my house, like everywhere. So they would just do crackdowns. There were protests, there was stone throwing, there is militancy, there was firing around me. So I have mostly seen all this. My culture, according to me, my
Yeah.
culture goes beyond the language, food, the dress, everything. It's this crackdown, protests it's as much real as my clothes, as my dress, as my
Yeah.
food. So that's the
So
culture I can
essentially,
talk
this
about.
this conflict essentially has shaped so much of your Kashmiri identity.
Yeah. So there are, yeah, this is a political culture. I can mostly relate to it, because all my life I have seen violence. All my life I have seen firing going outside my house. I have seen stone throwing. I have seen protests. I have seen a lot of encounters. I have seen how police, how army
Yeah.
would destroy houses, like in second. They'll just raise the whole house to ground
Yeah.
in no second. So those are my memories. That's
Yeah.
something I know, and that's something I have always witnessed.
So kind of growing up in that, I guess, sort of moving to oh, sorry. I think the connection's gone.
I can hear you.
Is it back? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Sorry, carry on. I think we lost you for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're asking, I couldn't get your question.
Yeah. So I guess I was saying, so obviously you're saying that the conflict itself has shaped your identity so much, and growing up in that conflict, how did it feel then when you moved from Kashmir to India, sort of on a personal level as well? How did that feel?
Uh, you know, I always, to be very honest, I mean, to be very honest, I always felt unsafe. So, for example, the kind of dress we wear in Kashmir, because I love
Mm.
wearing Kashmiri stuff. So I took my it's a long coat. It's called farran. So I took it to Delhi, and I would go to my office wearing that farran. So there was this
Mm-hmm.
woman who would just she was just looking at me, and I went to her, okay, I mean, what's, do you want to ask me something? She told me that you look like a Pakistani, because I was wearing a long coat, and I had that Pakistani cap. Not Pakistani, it's made in Kashmir. So uh, but but I felt, I
Mm.
always felt, unsafe in Kashmir, because I met a lot of people. I mean, in not just in Delhi, in other parts of India, but I think we are totally different from them, and I, as a Kashmiri, we don't fit in there. We don't belong to them, to that part, you know. So and at the same time, it's you whenever I would travel to other states, they will say, they'll talk about, you look like a Kashmiri. I'll say, no, I'm not a Kashmiri. Why?
Wow.
And then they'll say, Kashmiris are, I don't know what they are. They are stone throwers. They are targeting our army. They're killing our army. They're bad. They're Pakistanis. They always think that we Kashmiris, we're Pakistanis. We're not Pakistanis. We're not Indians. We're in the middle.
Yeah,
So they would always say, Kashmiri. They would always see Kashmiri through, through Pakistani prism. If I'm a Kashmiri,
that one lens. Yeah.
if I'm a Kashmiri, I'm a stone thrower. I hate army. I hate Indian government, and I am pro Pakistan. And that's something you can, if you don't, you don't want to talk to them and make them understand, no, I'm not a Pakistani, and I don't hate your people. See, because we don't hate them, we definitely don't hate them. We are asking for something,
Hmm.
that's a different thing, but we don't hate is a very hard, thing to, you can't hate
Yeah.
someone. So they think that we hate Indians, but we don't. They think that we love Pakistanis. It's a different story. So you can't even make them understand that,
Yeah.
no, see, I am a Kashmiri. I never, whenever I would travel to for a story in India, I would never reveal my identity. I would never say that I'm a Kashmiri Muslim. It's a Kashmiri plus it's a
Wow.
Muslim. So if you're a Muslim, you're already, they'll not, they okay, okay, will not talk to him, or they'll not give, importance. And when you say like you're a Kashmiri Muslim, it's a different story.
Think
That
it affected
you get.
sort of your job opportunities?
Yeah, I mean, I would, I would use public transport in Delhi, and I talk to these auto walas, rickshaw drivers. They'd all say, you look like a Kashmiri,
Mm.
or no, if you're not a Kashmiri, then you're an Afghani. What do you think about? And I would like, start a conversation with them. What do you think about Kashmiris? So their answer. I mean, that's how, I don't blame, these, because those auto drivers, because they're not
Yeah.
well read. They they go home and they look at those, that TVs and whatever the media is portraying
Media.
Kashmiris. So they just say, these Kashmiris are, they're the bad people. They hate us. They hate Indians. They kill army. They are. So I have, many times they told me that Kashmiris are terrorists. I mean, I am the witness. I said, no, I am not a Kashmiri. I mean, they might
Mm.
be terrorists. I don't know, but I'm like you. I'm an Indian, so I live in India. I don't know anything about Kashmir. But if you're saying, yeah, okay, they are terrorists, maybe I don't know. So that's how it's in, on
Yeah.
ground. They think that we
So
we we yeah, they think that we are bad people.
yeah,
We are terrorists and stuff.
do you feel that sort of these sort of comments and this sort of, I guess, discrimination to some extent that you face, on a personal level, did it make you sort of feel stronger about your Kashmiri identity and make that even more sort of prevalent in with who you are? Or did you feel like you sort of began to like kind of want to hide that part of yourself more, and you felt kind of like, how did, like, it'd be good to sort of understand how you sort of internalized that experience of sort of being an other?
See, about my identity as a Kashmiri, I'll always be, I'm always proud of my identity. I would, proudly say that I'm a Kashmiri, and we are not bad people, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
but say, for example, you are in middle of 100 people, and they're talking, about Kashmiris being bad, and so I haven't, to be very honest, I was too scared. I haven't revealed my identity in those parts. I would always hide my identity, and I'll always tell them that I am from Delhi. I live in Delhi, and I don't know. I mean, I am not a Kashmiri. If they'll ask me if you're a Kashmiri, I'll say no, I'm not a Kashmiri. But you look like a Kashmiri. No, I'm not. I am an Indian Muslim. So you just to save myself, I would lie. But
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean I'm not proud. I'm always proud of my
Yeah.
identity. I'm proud that I'm a Kashmiri, and we know how it feels to be a Kashmiri. Nobody could ever understand. Nobody can understand how it feels to be a Kashmiri. We see a lot of things that those people can never never they can't even imagine. Say for example, I'll tell you something. So in Delhi, I was doing a story on there was this there's this highway in Kashmir. So whenever and this army convoy passes on that highway, so the army personnel, they restrict the public transport. So you just have to stop and let the convoy pass. They let the army convoy pass. So it's it and at last year there was a ban. There was a timing. So for example, from 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. Only army can pass. They can only travel on that highway. So so
Mhm.
uh, so my colleague, so he came to me and he asked me, what is this about? And I made him understand that we as a Kashmiri, we have no rights there. I mean, we have no rights on our roads, on our on stuff in Kashmir. We can't go out in the evening and have dinner outside and come home. It's not safe. And he was shocked. I mean, he said, no, this can't happen, because they don't know what's happening inside Kashmir. They don't know anything. So when
Mhm.
they come, when they come to Kashmir, they know, they see small things, but they don't know everything. I was just like talking about this. We can't go out in the evening. We can't go out in the morning. We can't go. It's unsafe for us. There are. If I go out, there is a person out there holding a gun. So he
Wow.
stops me I'll tell you one a personal experience. Until last month, I had like long hair. I had like long hair. So I was forced to cut my hair. You know why? Because they thought I look like a militant. Because militants, apparently, they have long hair and a beard and something. So I went to, my friend lives in South Kashmir. It's a little volatile area. So I went there for the night. And people were looking at me, and I was stopped. you know
Wow.
it's a patch of, say for example, 20 kilometers. I was stopped like nine
Yeah.
times. I was asked to get down. Why are you having this long hair? You look like, no. One policeman told me that you look like a militant. I said, no, I'm a journalist. No, you should cut your hair, because Kashmir, it's not safe. How Kashmir, how things are in Kashmir. People think you are a militant. So I was forced to cut my hair, and it's so weird. I can't and I can't
Yeah.
you know and I can't explain it to people living outside Kashmir. It's like a small thing.
Yeah.
It's my hair. I can grow my hair. I can cut my hair. It's my choice. But no, no. As a Kashmiri, no, you can't even keep your beard. You can't keep long hair. You'll be you might be killed. They might kill you for long hair, for growing your hair, because I look like a militant. So that's how things are inside Kashmir. And it's something, they people living outside Kashmir won't ever understand. This is something we will only understand because we witness it every day.
Yeah. No, I think that's really interesting as well, especially sort of examples of how it's your personal freedom that's coming into question, like hair and the way you dress, and sort of having to change those parts of what you identify with so strongly, just to sort of not offend other people or not, to let other people accept you, and not question you just because of where you're from. Do you also feel that this occurs in sort of other places that you've traveled as well?
Oh, no, 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 not in. See, if you say, so for example, if this happens in Kashmir only. I mean, I have traveled across India, but they won't. They don't care. They only think there's only in India. This like if you're an Indian, if you're a Pakistani, you're a Kashmiri. That's the thing in India. But in Kashmir, it's different. In Kashmir, it's there's a
Mm.
there's risk everywhere. There's you're not safe in your own house. You're not safe anywhere. We plan to go out, but it's scary out there. It's risky. We don't know what's going to happen. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
it's a mess. It's a mess there, and we can't do anything. And that's very unfortunate.
yeah. I think that's sort of what's really important about sort of Kashmir and what's happening there, especially with sort of what happened last year. I think it was around as well when Article 360 was basically overturned and things like that. How did you, it'd be really interesting to know as well, like how you personally felt about that, because obviously it's a very sort of a personal attack on a lot of Kashmiris as well for them being an autonomous state or having that at least officially. How did that sort of impact you as well last year when that happened?
You're talking about Article 370.
Yeah.
See, obviously we won't feel good about it. We feel bad about whatever they're doing in Kashmir, but they're following following something. They'll just they just want to change the demography of Kashmir. They just want to change everything in Kashmir. When everything was shut in Kashmir post Article 370, even in the pandemic,
Mm.
I am the witness because I was in Kashmir that time. The small
Wow.
small scale shops in Kashmir, they are shut, but at the same time, they were they would get a lot of non-locals to Kashmir to work here. Why? Because
Wow.
there are a lot of non-local Kashmiris here right now. They're working. They're doing a lot of jobs here. But why? Because we know what they're doing here. They are just changing the demography of Kashmir. They'll get a lot of people from outside, and they'll settle them down here. And say for example, 50 years down the line, they'll say, okay, we're ready for the plebiscite. Let's do it. But
Mm.
but the demography is already changed. There are less Kashmiris here. They're giving domicile certificates to Indians. So Indians are buying land in Kashmir. Indians are going to live
Mm.
here. Indians are coming, they would set up, business here in Kashmir. And so this is an attack on our
Yeah.
demography that changing. So what's the outcome of the demography change? They'll just say, let's assume that they'll say, we're ready for the plebiscite. So if
Hmm.
plebiscite happens, there will be a lot of Indians already here, settled here, and they have right to vote. So they have right for the plebiscite as well. So it's
Yeah.
it's well planned, and we know we I mean I as a Kashmiri, we felt bad. I mean we
Yeah.
I was in when the abrogation happened. I was in Delhi, and I couldn't work for 2 days because for many reasons, because everything was shut. Phone lines, mobile phones, TV, internet, cable, everything was shut. So my mother had to travel, have had to
Wow.
visit a police station after 5 days to make a call for 5 seconds. She called me after 5 days saying that we are safe, don't come to Kashmir, it's not safe here. So we talked barely for five to
Wow.
ten, not more than 10 seconds, and she just hung up saying, Don't come to Kashmir. It's not safe here, but we are safe. So the other day I visited home, and it was so scary
Yeah.
because for 5 days, 6 days, I had no idea about my family, if they're alive, if they have food, if they have money, because everything was shut. Everything was shut. Literally everything was shut.
Yeah.
I have seen uprising in 2018. I have seen 2010. I have seen 2016. But 2019 was horrible. It was. I mean, it's very hard to explain what the situation was here. You couldn't even go out to report. You couldn't even go out to talk to people. There were rumors everywhere. There was a chaos everywhere, and it was so bad. It was a very very sad
Yeah.
experience. And I just left Delhi, and I told my office that I can't work right now, and I'll go home. And I just went home
Yeah.
without knowing where my family is.
Wow. Also, sort of building up on that, so from since then to now, and I guess you told me that you've been in Kashmir since March, so sort of with COVID-19 and everything, all that craziness happening as well, on top of all the lockdowns and restrictions that Kashmiris also face. It would be really sort of insightful to know what the situation's been like there, with sort of how COVID-19 sort of restricted populations as is. Do you feel like that's impacted a lot in Kashmir as well? Or how has that impact even been?
See, I know for a fact that right now people are scared. There's complete silence in Kashmir. People don't know what to do. There's a lot of surveillance here in Kashmir. A lot of surveillance. My friends, my colleagues, recently my friend did a story for some. He wrote about something, and he was detained. My other colleagues, they were booked under terrorism laws for posting on social media. For posting, say for example, if I have an opinion as a journalist, I post it on social media, say Twitter or Facebook, I might be booked, I might be detained, I might be arrested, or I might be killed and get killed. So
Yeah.
it's very difficult right now, in when it comes to when we talk about Kashmir, because the situation right now is bad. It's there's risk everywhere. It has become more, it's become a police state where you don't know if you're safe. If you do a story on, say, XYZ, you might be summoned, you might be booked, you might. So there's no dissent. There's no scope for your opinion, for your views. You can't put your opinion. You can't comment on anything. You might be called, you might be threatened. There is a lot of intimidation right now. I know a lot of journalists, there's harassment right now going on. A lot of journalists are being
Wow.
harassed, are being, there's another journalist who is under who's in jail from last 2 years. We don't know why. Apparently, he did a story, and he was asked to reveal his sources. He didn't, and since then he's in jail. My other
Wow.
friend, he was summoned last week for doing a story. So that's the situation right now in Kashmir, and it's bad.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sort of joining us and giving us sort of your incredible insights and about the situation in Kashmir now and how you feel about it and your own sort of personal experiences, as a Kashmiri as well. And so thank you to our audience for watching as well. Our next episode will be on Saturday at the same time, where we will be in conversation with writer Nuja Matu. Actually, it's not Saturday, it's Thursday coming. So thank you again, from Identity
Thank you
International.
so much for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Haziq. Bye.